There comes a moment in life when the noise fades, the crowd disappears, and suddenly, it's just you. You look around and realize no one is walking beside you anymore. The people you once leaned on drift away. The support you depended on grows silent. And you start asking the question you've whispered in the dark more times than you'd admit. God, why am I walking this path alone? But what if the loneliness you fear is not abandonment, but preparation? Because sometimes God removes every voice around you so you can finally hear the one voice you've been missing, His. Sometimes He lets you walk alone not to break you, but to rebuild you into someone stronger, wiser, and unshakable. Alone is where He reveals what you couldn't see surrounded by others. Alone is where He grows what the world didn't notice. Alone is where He prepares the version of you that's destined for the next season of your life. There are seasons in life that feel like a quiet hallway between two chapters, too far from where you used to be, yet not close enough to where you're going. These seasons feel confusing, heavy, and strangely silent. And when God doesn't immediately fill that silence, we start to assume something is wrong. But what if this silence has purpose? What if this isolation isn't punishment, but strategy? This message is for the person who has felt abandoned by people they trusted. For the one who wakes up every day feeling like they're carrying everything alone. For the one who wonders why God hasn't replaced what was lost, or why He allowed certain people to walk away. If your heart has been asking questions that keep you up at night, this message is speaking directly to you. Because there is a reason, a divine reason, for this season of solitude. And once you understand it, once you see what God is building in you during this quiet, lonely stretch of the journey, everything inside you will shift. What once felt like emptiness will begin to feel like preparation. What once felt like loneliness will start to feel like refinement. This is where the transformation begins. There comes a point in your journey when God gently pulls you out of the circles you once depended on. Not because those people were bad, but because their voices were too loud. Their expectations, their opinions, their influence, slowly, they started shaping your steps more than God's whispers did. And so He begins to separate you. He begins to loosen your grip on what was familiar. Suddenly the path grows quieter, and you feel the sting of that shift. It feels like loss, but in reality, it's alignment. You see, when life gets noisy, your spirit becomes hard to hear. You move fast, talk fast, decide fast, but you don't grow deep. And God loves you too much to let your life stay shallow. So He leads you into a season where distractions fall away. Friends get busy, connections loosen, noise fades, and in that uncomfortable silence, you begin to notice things you never had time to feel. The ache, the fears, the unhealed places, the places God has been waiting to touch. And it's in this solitude that you face yourself, your real self. Not the version of you that performs or pretends or keeps the peace for everyone else, but the version of you that feels everything deeply, the version that has questions, the version that needs healing. This is where God meets you most intimately, not in the crowds, but in the quiet corners where your heart finally slows down enough to hear Him say, "I'm here. I've always been here." But let's be honest, this season isn't easy. There are days when you want to run back to old comforts just to feel something familiar. Days when you wonder if you misheard God. Days when you whisper, "Why am I alone?" But it's in these very moments, when you feel weakest, that God is building the strongest parts of you. Not the surface strength people see, but the kind of strength that grows in the dark, the kind that cannot be shaken, the kind forged by God Himself. When God lets you walk alone, He's not taking away, He's making space. Space for clarity. Space for growth. Space for the whispers of your own soul to rise above the chaos. In the quiet, you begin to understand the difference between what's urgent and what's important, between the noise of the world and the voice of eternity. And suddenly, the moments that once seemed meaningless start to carry weight, and the lessons you ignored in the past become impossible to miss. This season teaches patience, not the kind that waits passively, but the kind that trusts actively. You learn to walk without guarantees, to step without seeing the full path. You discover strength in solitude, resilience in absence, and courage in uncertainty. You begin to see that being alone is not the absence of love, but the presence of God shaping your heart, molding your character, and preparing you for the destiny only He can see. And perhaps most profoundly, you realize that your loneliness is not a punishment, but a gift. It's the gift of undistracted devotion, of uninterrupted reflection, of an intimate encounter with the one who has always been beside you. In the stillness, you hear the truths that were drowned out before. In the silence, you feel the power that no applause, no crowd, no validation could ever give. Alone, you are being transformed into exactly who you were meant to become. And then, in the quietest moment, it hits you. Everything you feared about being alone was never the truth. The loneliness, the emptiness, the ache, they weren't signs of abandonment. They were the scaffolding of your soul. God wasn't absent. He was preparing, molding, whispering in ways you couldn't have heard amidst the crowd. And suddenly, what felt like weakness becomes revelation. What felt like emptiness becomes fullness. What felt like a delay becomes divine timing. You realize that walking alone is not a punishment, but a privilege. A privilege to face your deepest fears, to confront your doubts, to embrace your truest self. Alone, you learn that God's presence isn't loud or flashy. It's patient, intimate, unshakable. And as your perspective shifts, you see that every step you've taken in solitude has been a step toward the person you were always meant to become, a person stronger, wiser, and ready for the next season. So if you're walking alone right now, know this: you are not forgotten, you are not abandoned, and you are not lost. Every step you take in solitude is a step toward your destiny. Every tear, every silent prayer, every quiet moment of doubt is shaping you into someone who can carry the weight of purpose with grace and strength. God is walking with you, even when no one else is. And the season of walking alone is the very season that will make your soul unshakable, your faith unbreakable, and your life extraordinary. Thank you for staying with me until the very end. Your time, your attention, and your willingness to reflect mean more than you know. If this message spoke to your heart, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so we can continue walking this journey together. Your support helps this message reach more people who need to hear it today.